please take the phones off, put them on vibrate so we don't have that distraction. And we're going to call the meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Lexington County Executive Committee. And as I said in my emails, I'm generally going to allow anyone who wants to speak as long as it remains civil. And we don't have a lot of unnecessary personal attacks and things of that nature. If we need to maintain order, we will reserve the right to speak to other those members of the executive committee who are here and identified as such. We're going to have to call the roll to make sure it's here, and then we have a quorum. Preston, if you could bring up that sign-in sheet, I appreciate it. And is there any page somewhere? Brandon, would you be willing to pray to open us? Please rise. Currently, we need to say a pledge of allegiance, so let's go ahead and do that. Actually, I'm going to call the names that signed in, and you all know if you're an executive committee and a president who was not called. Larry Whittington, Denise David Snelling, Glenn Miller, Summer Solom, Ronald Kelvin, Deborah Kelvin, Steve Eisen, Cynthia Lampley. I saw Robert. Ty Campbell, Joyce Mize, Marcus Steele, George Burbach, Preston Gaines, David Elon, David James, Douglas Ford, Martin Bradbury, James Hanks, Tommy Windsor, Ronnie Wood, Ted Z, Carolyn Church, Randy Page, Robert Suggs, Sharon Whitaker, John Bradley, Jim Metz, Bill Krecker, Thomas Krenner, Lee Fowler, Julie McCray, Mary Carr, Corey Norris, Alan Starkey, William Dabrowski, Ann Benke, Margaret Gamble, Thomas Kennedy, Beverly Cease, Angela Cormany, Ed Boyle, Tommy Plum, Mike Green, Debbie Summers, Bert Holland, Mickey Lindler, Ed Hartley, Carla Harvey. Substitute Art Perry. All right, is there anyone that is?
I just walked in.
Oh, Garrett Dale. And what's your precinct?
Oakwood.
Is there anyone else?
Jim Barker.
I'm sorry, what was it? Precinct Edenwood? Anyone else?
Roxanne Wilson Springfield.
Anyone else? Jim Wellman? Oh. You're on the steering committee, you're not a precinct officer. Okay. may need your assistance in that regard. Okay, we've got obviously a contentious issue, we have a good attendance, and we definitely have a quorum, we only need 25 people for a quorum, so there's no question about that. I'm primarily concerned about the role for the purposes of knowing who's here and who gets to vote on any particular issue going forward. Tonight we're here for a question that's been a common question, and I think anyone who's been involved for a while can confirm what I'm about to say. It's been a common question that has been a very divisive issue for years and years and years and years. And that is, what authority does the chairman have autonomously, and what authority does he, in what cases is he required to have approval by the executive committee? And believe me, this is not, I know a lot of folks have not been involved with formal party organizations for a while, but this is not the first time it's come up. Virtually every presidential cycle, there are these type of situations where somebody's candidate isn't treated properly by the chairman, and it doesn't seem fair, and the executive committee members whose personal favorite was mistreated they're outraged, and they want to do something about the chairman going off at 5.
Stand up, dude.
I'm sorry?
Stand up.
Oh, you want to see me? I thought you just wanted to hear me. All right. So anyway, that's all right. I'm not taking any more requests, so don't ask me to stand. But so that's the question for us tonight. We have a formal resolution. I've read it before it's at them. Aren't there yet. We'll get there shortly. But obviously, there's a lot of passion on both sides of this issue. There's good turnout. There's people care about this, and the Amazon issue is not really all that important to this question, because it wasn't Amazon, it could be something else. And next week it could be something different. And the question is, what can the chairman do, and what's his authority, what's his responsibility, what are his limitations? And as I said, this is going on, and we never had put a black and white law, rule, bylaw on the books. And that's because it's so difficult to quantify. And so I've got a lot more comments in regards to that in my decision-making process, but I'm going to recuse myself as chairman, because obviously my opinion has a lot of weight as chairman, but also as the kind of subject in this particular instance. So I've asked David James to act as chairman. He reluctantly agreed, and he was going to hate me by the end of the night, but he is willing to do it now. So before he changes his mind, I'm going to let him come up here and try to herd these cats and do it in a fair and reasonable way. So I'm going to turn the mic over to him, and I'm going to sit out in the audience, and I think, if I can, I'm going to reserve the right to kind of comment first and give you my version of things, and then we'll start talking about that. Tom, does he need to stand up the whole night?
That'd be great. We can't speak.
Do you want
Does he need to sit?
Where's the target?
That one just
Obviously, this is a little different than normal meetings. I'm just going to tell you my opinion on this whole process. And as I said, I'm not going to argue about Amazon and pros and cons. I'll be ready to do that with anyone, anytime. That's what I do for a living, but I enjoy it, but that's not the subject tonight. The question is, as I said, what can the executive do? And by the way, I'm not acting as chairman now, I'm acting as private citizen in defense of the idea of restrictions on the chairman. But the question came up to me in my mind: what can we do about this Amazon thing? we have 100% unanimity across every elected official who has party affiliation. In other words, people that can say I'm Republican when they run. And it was universal in the mayors, who are nonpartisan. But even the Democrats were in support of Amazon. So my position was that my job is to get Republicans elected as party chairman. That's what the party exists to do. Now, we can argue about policy all we want, but policy is not really what the party does. The policy, we affect policy by the elections that we have and the people that we elect as private citizens. But the chairman of the party and the party at large is trying to get their nominee elected. The fight during the primary is to pick who our nominee is, and then we try to get elected. So, with that in mind, when 100% of the people that I worked as hard as I could to get elected all have the same opinion, and they represent every square inch of the county, and they take a position, and we're about to lose that position if we don't act within the next 48 hours or so. We had a vote coming up on Wednesday. We had to make arrangements to have any impact at all on that vote very quickly. Under the rules, under an ideal world, I would love to have had the executive committee support, or at least their opinion. And I think I would have gotten their support. I think I could have mustered at least a majority to say, yeah, this is kind of a no-brainer. Everyone that you try to get elected has the same position. And there'd be a strong portion of people who might not agree. But I think I could get 50+1. And with that in mind, I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to support the elected officials and the idea because of the technical rule. And it wasn't even really a rule. There is no rule that says you can't do this. What I did was not outlawed by any rule, and nobody can point to a rule that I followed. There is no rule that says the chairman can't do this, can't do that, he has to do this, he has to do that. So I had to make a decision about a very important issue in a very short time. So I did what I did as the chairman of the party. And just by way of analogy, it doesn't fit exactly, but if you look at our executive committee as a legislative body, me as chairman as an executive who's supposed to implement the policy of the executive committee, it is very common for the executive, like President Obama, to do things that the Congress may not agree with. And the Congress has the right, and our legislature has the right to tell Nikki Haley not to do something. And if they can muster up 2/3 so they can override a veto, and then she has to abide by that. And when Barack Obama says that Israel has to abide by the 367 boundaries, and most of America thinks that's a bad idea, that doesn't mean he was wrong or outside his authority to say it. But it's not a perfect analogy because obviously I'm not the president and we don't have 3 equal co-equal branches, but it's a reasonable analysis. In addition to that, the executive committee doesn't elect me directly. The county convention elects me. So I have a bigger pool of people that are elected me, and under the circumstances, it was a re-election and it was unanimous. So there was obviously some level of trust in my judgment. And I have generally tried to have unanimity amongst the party when we do things. But sometimes you have to make decisions in a hurry for the good of the cause. And that's how I was thinking when I made these decisions. Now, I'm not sure what we want to do tonight, but I did not mean by any stretch of imagination to alienate half of the party, which is basically what happened. And frankly, it's made it worse because we're having this meeting, but I just want you to know that historically, the chairman and the executive committee have been at loggerheads over and over and over again. And if Tommy Winslow were up here, and he may be able to regale us with some tales of his own impasses over the years, they'll all tell you the same thing. We've had this happen, it comes up regularly, and there's no easy way around it. But the idea that you're going to ask somebody to serve as chairman and try to hamstring them to the point where they can't make decisions without getting approval. And I realize that a big policy question like this is not something that you like. But countervailing that is the idea that 100% of the whole delegation was in agreement with what I did. I wasn't going way out on a limb on a 50-50 issue, at least not measuring it by the elected officials and by the people they represent. So I can understand why you don't want the chairman doing anything he wants, but you have to trust the person you elect to be chairman. And if he makes egregious mistakes, we can have meetings like But as far as I can remember, I don't ever remember this type of a meeting being held and called and honored by the chairman who's about to get told he can't do what he just did. But the rules say if 10 or more people call for a meeting, then the chairman shall have a meeting. Now, I know over the past 25 years, there have been occasions when more than, and it used to be 3 people, when more than 3 people called for a meeting, there was no meeting happening. So I just want to know that I'm doing this meeting in the interest of unity and letting people know that I abide by the rules. Most of the people who allege that I'm, a corrupt dictator who just does whatever he wants would not have said that before this event and would have never accused me of ignoring the rules. But because of this issue, there's a lot of people that are convinced I'm just a shill and I'll do whatever the delegation tells me to. But I will also point out that 6 months ago, the delegation would have said I was just a shill for the Tea Party and I'll do whatever they say. So I feel as long as I can keep everyone equal and have a meeting on me. That's the background of my decision making. Y'all are welcome to try to solve this problem, but it's been tried before, and you can, a resolution is good and fine, and I don't know that it solves the issue. It doesn't give me much direction going forward as to what I can and can't do as chairman, but it makes a point about what I've done in the past, and that's reasonable. I mean, that's fine. That's what the executive committee is supposed to do. It's supposed to set policy, and you can pontificate about it and let me know what you want to do. But if you want to make a rule change, it's going to be pretty difficult to craft something that isn't so restrictive nobody wants to be chairman because all they are is a glorified clerk, or something that has any teeth that does anything. And we've struggled with this for a long time. So have at it. Good luck. And David, turn it over to you.